Good afternoon. Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024, here in Sarasota, Florida. It has been exactly 4 months and one day since my last recording. And I cannot even begin to share all that has transpired since that time. I am somewhat forcing myself to get back in the saddle today because I have a stretch ahead of me, 30 days in a row, where I will not be overnight anywhere for work. And I point that out because it is incredibly challenging to maintain a routine, any sort of routine, incredibly challenging for me to do my world of work while also simultaneously continuing at a pretty intense pace this year to work events and traveling the country again, which I didn't do for the better part of 4 years. And also, coming in future videos here, I will be sharing the new business venture and the partnership that I have embarked upon. I've been very quiet about it, quite purposely, for the now almost year that it has been taking place, or the year since it was born. Really only clicked in fully this past March, so still relatively new. And it is a business within my event business and very much related to, um, we'll call it the practical aspect and part of what I refer to as my unique world of work through my company of me. Now, in just the past 6 weeks, I have been to California, Ohio, Michigan, and I just returned from Quebec in Canada. For three of those trips were for work. One was a very big personal trip back home to Michigan. First time in 5 years I had been home. And so, without going into tremendous amounts of details, very intense, beautiful, amazing, wonderful, chock full of expansion, lessons. It's very, very powerful as one consciously breaks old patterns that no longer serve and steps into more of the full expression of oneself, which describes on a high level what has transpired for me in pretty new ways and unprecedented ways here in 2024, and really intending to set the stage for 2025 to be a most profound year, bridging year, transition year, having components of my world still being pieces that have been there for many, many years, but also continuing to introduce very large, very new pieces. So, with that said, I just wanted to try to jump in, grab a quick, energetic capture of just what the past months have been. This most recent trip to Quebec City, first time out of the country since I went to Japan in 2010. Despite the fact it's only Canada, every time I've left the country, and returned back to the States, it's a profound experience. And this trip has proven to be very much the same. Now, as I share in previous videos, when I return or experience any event, even my 1 and 2 day events, there's always a processing period, a processing and integration, and a sort of reconciliation of the event, what happened in any one particular event, and how it relates to all the other pieces of my world. The past 6, 7 weeks here have been big. These are big, big new events. All three of these were brand new. Escape from Alcatraz in San Francisco, California, which also included a chance and opportunity to reconnect with a friend that I hadn't seen in over 2 decades from PricewaterhouseCoopers, my very first corporate job right out of undergraduate, back in 1999. That was an extremely powerful work trip and personal reconnection. A couple weeks later, I worked my first Ragnar in Ohio, I know the new CEO of that company. I go back with him all the way to 2006. And so that was brand new. First time I've worked at an event where absolutely nobody present at the event knew me in any capacity. And I was completely 100% unfamiliar with the brand, as I've never even raced a Ragnar, let alone worked it, which always allows you to see sort of more the inner workings and the behind the scenes as opposed to the final product in the event itself. And then this Quebec City trip was for a triathlon series called the Challenge Family. I believe they're based out of Europe, out of Germany, I believe. And this took place in Quebec City, Canada. And oh my goodness, I definitely am in the early stages of processing of that event. For me, as many know, if you've tuned into any of my work in any capacity, I do not experience things in just one level. I experience them at a multitude of levels in a multitude of dimensions connected to a multitude of different things. And like I said, in the next 30 days here, I'm embarking on a challenge for myself. First, to do 30 days of some sort of yoga, Pilates, something calming at the gym where I work out, as opposed to pounding my body with the running and the cycling that I tend to do. Very hard for me, as I genuinely love pushing myself cardiovascular wise. I genuinely love running, but I've been dealing with some hip bursitis. And even though I'm only running 3 days a week now, after about 9, 10 months off, the bursitis isn't really subsiding. So I need to listen to my body and really slow it down a little bit. So the next 30 days, I'm intending to do 30 class a day, and hopefully more of the yoga Pilates, stretching type classes. And then I also intend to capture a video every single day. And I am not just recording, general bullshit. I am working and intending to link and all these things that I've been working towards for now 11 and a half, knocking on 12 years, to really step in and share what has transpired in this past year. And most notably with this practical arm of the partnership with a friend of mine, his and I's partnership within the event world, and what our visions. He has a very large individual vision. I have a very large individual vision, and there is a massive overlap of our visions, and the mechanism through which this unifying effort is happening through is our event world experience. He's been in it about a decade. I've been in it 21 years, and it's proving to be a most potent, powerful combination. As we, it's unbelievable what has transpired, and it's the primary reason that I haven't been able to capture much in my world of work. Very, very powerful when you take on something from an ownership perspective. And even though I've had my own company and I've been representing my own, myself in my world of events, even though I've taken the steps individually with the publication, the self-publication of my first book almost a year ago, the completion of my 13 Moon calendar, part one of a workshop series. I'm not off the ground in that arm of things, and there are many reasons why, but most notably because that realm of my work is, let's phrase it this way. It's where we're going. It's representing more of where we're going as a collective, and me working my way backwards with the bridge. And now this partnership is the piece that I was really needing and waiting on to connect to. So now the bridge has two connection points. All the efforts that I've been making with my YouTube channel, with the book, with just every piece of what I've been doing solo for almost 12 years. Now a more practical, what I call 3D mainstream world arm of it. Now the bridge can be completed. So it's time to really share more authentically than I've had the courage to do so. And it will be able to be received for those that are ready and willing to hear it a little bit more clearly because of this practical piece. A lot of people need that practical piece to be able to even begin to. It's just an encasement. Most people have a hard time with envisioning things that aren't yet physically manifested unless you can point to it and say that. And my world of solo work is very much about creation. It's very much about bringing into physical manifestation things and ways of doing things that aren't yet prevalent in our world in mass. So I'm going to leave it at that. Not a particularly poignant or profound share, just me getting back on the horse of recording. And like I said, fulfilling my little promise to myself and goal for myself. This is day 1 of 30 in a row where I'm going to be home. That does not happen hardly ever. This is the longest break. I do have a local event this weekend that I have to work, but then I've got 3.5 weeks with no event, the longest break of the year. And I very much have some I need that downtime because I have a very busy fall planned. And I also really need to ignite my solo world again and connect that bridge and make that bridge. And it begins always with me with the sharing, with sharing. And I'm going to try to have a short theme based one word or one phrase that serves as a theme for each of the recordings the next few days. I wanted it to be a little bit more organized than what it's going to end up being, but for the most part, it's going to be off the cuff and it's just going to be whatever comes through in the moment that day. So, yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Things will get clearer or they won't over the next 29 days as I aim to perhaps for the first time really share my more complete voice with trying to bring words and working to express all the pieces without holding back, without fear of judgment or lack of understanding from anybody that may or may not be on the other side of receiving these videos and these shares. And we'll go from there. So if you listened, thanks for listening. And there'll be more each day for the next 30 days. Thanks.